Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Songbird's Nest. My name is Margaret, and I am Songbirds Creations, Crochet, and more. I'd like to welcome you into the Songbird's Nest this morning. Today I'm going to continue working on a pair of socks that I've been making. I did put the link to the tutorial that I used for this pair of socks. I put it in the description of the video. Good morning, Amber. Good morning, Julianne. Good to see you both. Happy you're here. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Lisa. Wow, the gang's showing up. Oh, I'm just waking up, you guys, so bear with me. I kind of had a late night because I took a nap yesterday afternoon. So of course, when my more or less regular bedtime rolled around, I was not ready for going to sleep. So instead, I watched videos and read. Finally got sleepy enough to drift off to La La Land. But then I was having strange dreams all night, none of which I can remember now. I just remember that I was having strange dreams. And it seemed like I woke up after every one of them. So, good morning, Lana. Good to see you here. I'm just taking the first sips of my first cup, so I need to be one copy in. On the Jumbo Frizzy. Oh, wow. No coffee or breakfast yet for you. Okay. Good morning, Nick. Good to see you. Oh, so how is everybody this beautiful morning? And it is still beautiful right now. We've actually got 62 degrees outside. I wish I could take you guys outside and work on the socks, but unfortunately that takes a lot of setting up, so not today. Maybe by next spring I'll have it worked out, unless we get some more warm weather sometime this fall. Good morning, Marianne. How are you today? You got a big day coming up after the weekend. Everybody, make sure to wish Marianne a happy birthday. Her birthday is coming up soon, so. And also, everybody, please remember to drop a thumbie for me. I appreciate it much. It does help my channel get out in the algorithm a little bit more, even though I don't put out a lot of content. You finished that blanket. Yay, team. So glad, so happy for you. That's been a while coming. Fabio is back? Oh my God. I am going to have to look him up. Is that Fabio's link, Lana? Oh, wow. See, I don't get on Discord. Plus, I was asleep probably, so I wouldn't have been watching it anyway. I just, oh, Marianne's birthday link. Okay. Um, I just woke up like right on maybe 10 minutes to 8, so gave me time to get myself together and get a cup of coffee and set my live up and all that good stuff. Oh, so I'm going to switch my camera down just a bit, so hopefully you can, maybe it needs to come down a bit more so you can see my hands. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on this next row. And what did, oh, okay, this is the row where I did the last increase for the gusset. So now I need to crochet, just single crochet 2 more regular rows, and then we'll be ready to start the heel. Oh, this thread is not liking this crochet hook for some reason. Move my marker up. Oh no, Nick. I'm sorry. Now, if I had that happen, I'd probably be all swelled up because cat scratches tend to do that to me. Me being allergic to cats. Haven't been scratched by a cat in a lot of years, though. Mainly because I stay away from them. Did you go clean it good, Nick, and put some kind of cream or something, some kind of antibiotic cream or something on it? Cat scratches can be kind of nasty. Why don't you do that, sweetie? I don't want you getting anything bad in your neck just because you are sitting here watching me. I'll be here for a while yet, so go take care of your neck. Yes, there is something called cat scratch fever. That's true. I learned when I was a kid. Have you had cat scratch fever, Melissa? That's no fun. I learned when I was a kid that wound care is very important. As a kid, I was very big into running around barefoot, which where we lived was probably one of the stupidest things I could have done. We lived on an old peony farm, and there were old metal farming implements all over the place. So I very easily could have stepped on something and contracted lockjaw or something like that, tetanus. Luckily, my mom did keep us updated on our tetanus shots. With us living in a place like that, it was pretty important. So, and I was the worst one for doing weird things and puncturing parts of my body. You know, Julianne, I used to have such thick callus on my feet. I could walk across a rock driveway, no problem, barefoot. I mean, just off I'd go, just like I had shoes on. I stepped on a sharp rock one time on my heel, and it broke the callus right down into the meat of my foot, basically. That kind of curtailed my running barefoot anymore. Now I've got these slip-on, slide-on sandals called dogs. They're really cushiony, foamy, and they are really nice to walk around in. So I throw a pair of those on before I go out to the garden. Um, but how I learned that wound care was so important, kind of started that story and didn't finish it. I got a blackberry thorn in my foot, and I thought I had gotten it out, but didn't. And it ended up healing over, but about a week after it healed over, I noticed I had a red line going up my foot. And it traveled up far enough that it was starting to go up my leg. And I showed it to my mom. She's like, you got blood poisoning from something. So I told her I showed her where it started, and I said it was a blackberry thorn in there. I thought I got it out. So she opened the wound back up, and we managed to get the thorn out. Of course, by that time it was festered a bit, so it was easy to pull it out. But I ended up having to sit for about a week with drawing salve on my foot and leg to pull that infection out. Wasn't fun. So after that, I was a lot more careful about taking care of wounds that I would get here and there. And I mean, living out there on that farm, I pretty much was always getting something. I mean, I was a tomboy, so I was always out in the woods, up in the trees, up on the shed roofs, what have you. I was a mess. But I had a fun childhood. I loved living at that particular place. It was a pretty awesome place to live. Another crazy thing I did when I was a kid, I was helping a friend of mine break her horse to ride double. And so I was on the front, and then there was another girl behind me. And she kicked the horse to get her going. And um, she apparently hurt her. So instead of, you know, taking off walking or anything, she started bucking and she threw us off. Well, the girl that owned the horse had just gotten brand new reins from Mexico, and they hung down the side of the horse's neck and actually hit the ground. So when I came off the horse, my ankle got wrapped up in one of the reins. And so I ended up that when the horse was trying to run, and when she ran forward, she ran over me. And then she backed up and went forward again, and she ran over me again, but a little less the second time. The first time she ran over me, she stepped right on my thigh, just a little bit above my knee. And so, they got her calmed down, came over and checked on me. Um, I I was okay. I just basically, I looked down and I had a rip in my pants, but it didn't seem to be anything, too major. They got me stood up. I was able to get up and walk around and stuff. And they went ahead and put me back on the horse, which probably was a good idea, because I might not have ever ridden again after that. So then I decided to go in the house and have something to drink to get all the dust out of my throat and everything. And then I went in the bathroom to check on my leg. And needless to say, it was not pretty. So I called my friend's auntie in and I said, check out my leg. And she's like, okay, we need to, get some cold on that. So it was huge. I mean, putting an ice pack on it. She probably didn't have enough ice in the house for me to be able to put an ice pack on it. But she had well water, and her well water was like liquid ice. So she ran me a bath of cold water. And you should have seen me trying to figure out how to just get the upper part of my leg into that water without putting the rest of my body in there, because it was so dang cold. And so I'm like contorting this way and that way and every which way. And finally I just said, oh, to heck with it, and sat down and let it soak for a while. So it was pretty awful, Julianne. Yes, trying to contort around in that bath. It was cold, cold. Um, I think I've only ever felt water that cold one time again, and it wasn't Lake Superior. Now, I've been swimming in Lake Superior, and Lake Superior is cold, but it was not as cold as what that water was. But once we went whitewater rafting in the mountains, and they stopped us near this one stream that had a waterfall that people like to jump off of into the stream below. The water in that stream was coming straight down off a mountain, and that water was cold. But yeah, so that spot on my leg where the horse stepped on me ended up being, well, I had a swelling on the side of my leg that looked like I was carrying around half a cantaloupe on my leg. Good morning, Rachel. Welcome in. You're just in time for my gory horse injury story. um, so it was kind of a rough summer because, I was very self-conscious of how my leg looked. And I mean, I loved going swimming and stuff like that. And nobody told me I couldn't go in swimming or anything. Now I'd probably be iffy about it because I know more about the parasites that you can get out of a lake. But yeah, as a kid, I didn't even think about that. Didn't get anything. So yeah, I was lucky that way. Yes, it was very severe hematoma. And I'm lucky. My family tends to have very strong bones, and it was very obvious there since, getting run over by a horse that outweighed me by a whole lot. But it was not a break. But I did end up going to the doctor and getting antibiotics and antibiotic creams and um, so, but right at the end of it, I had been carrying that around for about 9 months. And it finally started, the swelling started going down, and, it wasn't all ugly colors anymore. Well, I went to my grandma's. My grandma would always have my cousin and I come up and spend a couple weeks during the summer. She'd kind of schedule us to come for at the same time because we were the same age basically. So she would have us come and um, stay with her, and that way we had somebody to hang out with besides just her. Which I loved my grandma. It would have been fine to hang out with just her, but it was a lot of fun with my cousin there too. But one night we were watching a movie, and my grandparents had, probably people my age will remember this furniture. It was it was a leather chair, and it was kind of reclined back a ways. It wasn't a recliner, but the back of the seat kind of reclined back a little bit. And it had a big fluffy footstool that went out in front of it. And it had, at the end of the arms of it, it had these big wooden finials on the arms. And I was getting into that chair and bumped my leg right where the injury had been, which at that point was no longer swollen at all until I hit that wooden thing. And it swelled all the way back up, just like it had been originally. So it was probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and my poor grandma's having to take me to emergency room to find out what's going on with my leg. And so the doctor was a little concerned that maybe I was going to have a blood clot in it. So he gave me some clot busters to take, and then some more antibiotic cream. And yeah, but yeah, it took it a long time to heal up. And to this day, I still have a hoof-sized dent in that part of my leg. And right where the cut was, I don't really have much feeling there. So yeah, it was an interesting summer. Amber, have you ever swam in Lake Michigan? Lake Michigan is extremely clear, and you can actually see your feet quite a ways out, um, thanks to an invasive species called zebra mussels. Um, our lakes are a lot clearer, really, than what they should be. Zebra mussels have kind of um, cleaned up the water to an extreme, but they've also destroyed a lot of fish habitats. So they're not a nice thing. But yes, our water in Lake Michigan is very clear. And also, at the places that are good for swimming, you can walk out quite a ways and only be up to your knees. Then you might go up to your waist, but then you might get out to a spot beyond that where you'll be back up to your only your knees again. There's kind of like sandbars. So, but you can see your feet. You can be up to your waist or maybe a little higher than your waist in water and still look down and see your feet. So that's how clear the water is. But I agree. The ocean, you don't really much see your feet. And I will say on days that the waves are pounding in, well, on days that the waves are pounding in like that, they don't really want you out there swimming anyway. But if you were out there swimming, you wouldn't see your feet because the, the lakes do have undertow, and they don't want you out swimming on really high wave days. Well, Linda, there are days that the waves aren't really high enough to knock you down. I mean, I have seen Lake Michigan mirror calm, which is pretty unusual, I will have to say, but it's beautiful. On days that the waves are high enough that they would knock you down, I have a lot harder time, not with being out deep in the water, but getting up towards shore where those waves are breaking, and they will pull your feet back out from under you really quick, and they will knock you down. And so, yeah, I don't like swimming on days like that. Okay, so I have worked around the sock, the 2 rows of single crochet that you do after your final row of increases. So as you can see, it has increased quite a bit. So here is where we start our heel opening. So what we're going to do to start with is single crochet our first 11 of this round. Move the stitch marker up. Okay, got our first 11. Then we chain 14. Once we've chained 14, we have to count over 26 stitches. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And we skip those 26 stitches. So in the next stitch, we will single crochet and continue single crocheting on around the last 11 stitches. A rattlesnake in your yard? No. I'm really glad that I don't live somewhere that is prone to poisonous snakes. I was talking about that with somebody the other day, and really the only place that you see poisonous snakes per se in this state is once you get down to the south part of the country, south part of the state. Once you get down more towards Kentucky, then you're liable to see rattlesnakes and copperheads. How many were out there? You know, Amber, I actually like garter snakes. Now, I will have to say, since I've lived here, when I was a kid where I grew up, we had tons of garter snakes. But here, I haven't seen a snake in my yard ever. But I like garter snakes because they eat stuff that I don't necessarily want in my yard. So they're fine with me. Oh no. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, I would not like living someplace. Well, I say that, and I lived I lived in Tennessee in one of the most rattlesnake prone areas that I could have lived in. Never saw one though. I did see copperheads, but I never saw a rattlesnake when I was living down there. Um, yeah, I don't I don't want snakes getting in the house. Um, they don't belong in the house. Well, I mean, unless they're in cages. I'm okay with a caged snake. My sister used to have an albino boa, and I thought that was a pretty cool snake. But oh, good grief, Melissa. I don't think I'd be walking around barefoot. I'd probably be wearing knee-high boots all the time. Of course, I say that, and I ran around barefoot down in Tennessee, and we had copperheads and rattlesnakes. So, what can I say? Um, there is a legend. Now, I say legend because I didn't see it with my own eyes, so I can't, confirm it. But there is a place down in Tennessee called Rattlesnake Falls. Yes, copperheads are quite poisonous too, and copperheads are feisty. Normally, rattlesnakes just want to get the heck away from you. Copperheads, no, they will come after you. So, yeah, big difference in snakes. Um, but there is a place down in Tennessee, right near where I lived, called Rattlesnake Falls. Um, and from what I heard, when they were putting the 2-lane highway through, they blasted to be able to, I guess, to put the bridge in, because there was a big ravine that they needed to put a bridge over, and they had to do some blasting to get the footings in for the bridge. From what I heard from guys that had worked on it, when they blasted, they opened up a big den that was all rattlesnakes. So I guess Rattlesnake Falls earned its name, honestly. But yeah, I never saw one the whole time I lived there. I did see copperheads and went the other way. Well, yeah, that would be a little scary, Lana. It is actually 62 here this morning. It's actually pretty warm, but I think that's because we have a storm on the way. We're supposed to have storms later on this afternoon, so it's probably warmed up a bit. 62 is, ooh, 51. Yeah, that's pretty cool. 62 is actually quite a bit warmer than it's been all week. We've had most mornings, most of our mornings this week have been in the 50s. So yeah, it's getting that time of year. I don't like seeing it. High of 86, 72. See, now 72 I could deal with. And actually, I think our temperature for the day is supposed to be about 72. So that I can deal with. So now that we've got our separation done for our heel, what we're going to do is we're going to crochet around this round, but we're not going to go around this big open part. We're just going to go across these chains now. And the stitch count for this part with your 11, and your 14 brings you back down to 36 stitches. And what you do at this point is just crochet as many rows as you want to make the height of the sock. On her pattern, I know she says she does 12, but it's totally up to you how many you want to do, if you want to do more or less. Working on the landscaping around the concrete patio today. Oh, nice. That sounds fun, Amber. Okay. Trying to get these stitches on this chain through the upper loops so that I can have the lower loops for, oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. So let me ask, are any of you guys going to any No Kings rallies today? Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Sam. Good to see you. Welcome in. No Kings. It is a rally kind of against what Donald Trump is currently doing to our government. This is actually the third No Kings rally. There was one last October, one in June, and then there's one today. I have been kind of wavering back and forth about going because from what I've been seeing online, they're kind of trying to frame out the whole rally as being a hate America rally, which it most definitely is not. Hey, Helix, good morning. Because, you know, I definitely do not hate my country by any means. And then they're also saying that people who attend these rallies are pro-Hamas, pro-Antifa, which I kind of have a problem with too. And, you know, just basically domestic terrorists. So I'm expecting that there will be quite a bit of law enforcement presence at all these rallies. Well, Sam, I definitely don't have anything on my phone that would get me in trouble with ICE. My husband is an immigrant, but he is also a citizen at this point. That is one of the things. I sponsored him a while after we got married. I sponsored him to get his green card, and then once he was eligible to apply for his citizenship, we did that right away. So, yeah, but I have a feeling because I talked to him and tried to talk him into going, and he does not want to go. And I can't say as I blame him. Being a person, a brown skinned person, he might, you know, end up being a target. So, because they're right now not seeming to care if they take citizens or not. If you're brown skin, you know, they want to mess with you. So I can't blame him. And that is one of the reasons I loved living in the Chicago area. But all the stuff that's going on in Chicago, especially right now, I am very happy that we no longer live in that area. Yeah, just too scary over there. Good morning, Tank. Welcome in. But I will definitely be taking my phone because, you know, if something was to happen, I do want to have access to be able to reach my husband. So. You know, Amber, I feel exactly the same way. I don't have any problem with anybody, you know, as far as their politics, what they believe in. They, you know, everybody is entitled to their beliefs, but I also feel like the things that are going on in this country, I mean, you know, they're trying to curtail our freedom of speech. They're picking up people that really they should not be picking up. They aren't even asking people for IDs. They aren't trying to find out before they take them if they're legal American citizens. They just pick them up and, you know, take them and detain them places. And it's just not right. I mean, I have no problem with the idea that illegal aliens need to be out of our country. I have no problem with that. There are legal means for you to enter this country, legal means for you to stay in this country, just like what my husband did. So, you know, do it the right way. And if you become a citizen, then you need to be left alone like every other citizen in this country should be. But the thing is, what's weird, and I just froze, not even stopping at picking up brown skinned people. They're also picking on white skinned people, um, black skinned people. They are not caring who they're picking up. It's like they have a quota they have to reach, and they're just going to grab, anybody that they think they can get away with it. And that's just so not right. I have a friend in Chicago. Well, she's in one of the western suburbs of Chicago. She was out walking her dog the other morning and had a Black Hawk helicopter trailing her. She'd turn and go down a block. They'd turn and follow behind her. She'd turn and go down another block. They'd turn and follow behind her. Scared the living daylights out of her. Right, exactly, Helix. It's so wrong what's going on right now. And oh yeah, Anne Frank, exactly. Well, and look, it's happening here now in Chicago, in Portland, in other big cities, Los Angeles. I mean, it's insanity. The only thing that needs to be said, you're right. Exactly, Helix. You're exactly right. So, yeah, so I kind of feel like, yep, history is repeating itself. And, when they say never forget, they were saying never forget to remind us not to repeat it. So instead, it's being repeated. And our ancestors fought wars, one, to not have to live under the rule of a monarch, two, to fight against fascism so that we do not have to live in a fascist authoritarian country. And now people who are consider themselves Antifa, which only means anti-fascist. Donald Trump has said Antifa are domestic terrorists. There's not even an organized group called Antifa. So, and supposedly they have arrested the girlfriend of an Antifa founder. I'd love to know who this is because they haven't even told us names. It's ridiculous. Well, and Julianne, that's right, because I am very much anti-politics on my channel, And yeah, here I am. I'm I'm pissed, and I can't keep quiet anymore. I have tried and tried and tried not to say anything because one, I know that I have people on my channel who have different views than what I have, and this may lose me subscribers. Okay, that's fine. If it does, I can live with that. But I just can't keep shut up anymore. I mean, it's what's going on is just not right, and I can't keep quiet. Exactly, Tank. Exactly. Until you know, disrespect me and show me that, your friendship isn't real. Because I did have a friend who I really enjoyed spending time with her and everything. We had a common interest of rock hounding. That's kind of how we met. And um, she is a staunch Republican. She is a staunch Trump supporter. And I told her when we first got to be friends, look, let's just leave religion and politics out of our conversations and we can be friends forever. Well, when the first pandemic rolled around, um, and the shutdowns were starting to happen, she became very, very rebellious and um, very disrespectful. And at that time, I was taking care of my mom. And so, needless to say, if I was going out, I was masking up and everything um, because I didn't want to bring anything home to my mom. And I told her that she was she refused to wear a mask. And so I told her, if you can't wear a mask, you can't come to my house because I take care of my mom. I do not want my mom getting sick. And she got really nasty. And at that point, I basically said, no, I'm not doing this. Don't call me anymore because I won't be talking to you. It got so bad, she was leaving really nasty messages on my voicemail and just calling me all kinds of things that were not my name. And I ended up having to change my phone number. I cut her out of all my social media. Um, yeah, it was not pleasant. Yeah, Helix, that's cool. If you can keep, I mean, the differences are what make us really interesting people, and make it fun to be around other people. But when you bring out the negativity and bring that into a relationship, that's where it's no longer fun. And um, yeah, that's what this person chose to do, was bring in the negativity. And I was under enough stress in my life. I did not need stress from her too. So, yeah. Now, I will say it's been years, and a while back, somehow a message got through to me on Messenger from her. And I think it was because I had been included in a group chat. So I decided to go ahead and respond. And we do talk very, very rarely on Messenger, but I did not let her have my phone number again. Um, I don't trust her enough to let her fully back into my life. But you know, we do chat on Messenger, just very rarely. And I actually will check up on her a little more than, what she messages me. Um, she has gone through a real downturn in her health in the last few years. Um, she is now having to go to dialysis 3 days a week and just going through some bad stuff. So, I do check up on her to see how she's doing, but I really don't. I haven't gone to her house. I haven't let her come back to my house. Of course, she lives way over in Michigan, so, luckily it's not a trip where you just can jump in the car and, take off and be across town in 15 minutes. But yeah, so that's what my day is looking like. I am very strongly um, planning on going to the No Kings rally. And I am hoping that nothing crazy happens. I do live in a red state. Tank, I agree completely. They want to keep us divided and they want to keep us living in fear. And um, I will have to admit, I am a little afraid about going to this rally because if there are any people who don't agree, and I mean, living in a red state, that would be probably the majority of the people in this state don't agree with what we're rallying about, but I can't live in fear. So I am going to go ahead and plan to go to the rally. Right? Right, Julianne? That is so right. I am in Indiana. So no, not really the South. And I will have to say, this, well, not even Southish. I'm in the northwest part of Indiana, so I am nowhere near Southish. Maybe southern part of Indiana, you could consider Southish, but northern part, no, not so much. Um, I will say, I live in South Bend, which is a college town, and it is Midwest is what I'm considered. Um, I live in South Bend, which is a college town, and it's a fairly progressive liberal city. So that, you know, gives me hope that our rally today is a nice, peaceful one. Midwesters unite. I agree. I think everybody unite is how it should be. And yes, I agree about AI putting weird things on the internet. Speaking of which, there was a video that showed up on TikTok that was actually on one of the news channels the other night. Donald Trump had put this AI video out that was just all kinds of BS. And then he pulled it down. I don't know what the man is thinking, if he's thinking. Oh, I can tell my computer's getting old. I keep getting these messages about Windows 11. And at first, I was getting messages that they wanted me to upgrade to Windows 11. But then I get a message that my computer won't support Windows 11, which is good because I didn't plan on downloading it anyway. But now they're wanting to try and sell me a new computer because Windows 10 is not going to be supported anymore. When this computer goes out totally, I will consider getting a new computer. Until then, they can keep their Windows 11. In fact, I didn't even like Windows 10 that well when I first got this computer. And not too long after I got it, it went on the fritz for me. And I ended up, I took it to a local computer shop here in my neighborhood. And they ended up having to reload Windows on it. Apparently, it had a faulty load on the operating system. So they reloaded it for me. And I was like, well, if you're reloading, can you roll it back to the previous before Windows 10? And they're like, nope, sorry, can't do that. Apparently, because it had, if I had uploaded Windows 10, like gotten it when it was Windows 7 or whatever was before 10, if I had put Windows 10 on it myself, they'd have been able to take it back to the previous whatever was before Windows 10. But because it was a factory factory built with Windows 10, they couldn't take it back to the previous operating system. I was kind of bummed. But I've gotten used to 10 now, so, and I'm just going to be resistant and not get Windows 11 for as long as I possibly can, because I've heard really crazy things about it. So I am just now just doing the part of the sock that will be above the heel. So that'll make the part that goes up to my ankle. Not sure how many rows I'll go. I did just finish a pair of these that I made in an alpaca wool blend yarn that I had just a little bit of it left. I think it was one of the yarns that I inherited from my mom, and I'm not sure what she made out of it, maybe a sweater. But I had like 3 little skeins of it left, and that was enough to make a pair of socks. And they're really nice because they are warm but not overly so, so they don't. Usually if I wear socks to bed, I end up kicking them off not too long after going to bed because my feet get too hot. With these, they seem to actually regulate temperature well enough that they are not too hot, and so they're very comfortable, and they don't pick up dog hair. I don't know why, but I can walk around my floor and not pick up any dog hair. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, updates never go as smoothly as they should, for sure. Well, you guys, we have been here an hour, and I'm sorry I didn't get more done on the sock, but you can kind of see where it's going. I did post the link to Brianna Kay's tutorial for these socks in the description of this video. So if you'd like to try your hand at making some, definitely hit that link. And yeah, they just now got home. They just came panting in the door. Icy, Icy, what's up, dude? He wants to go out front. I'm alive. So anyway, yes, I am going to say goodbye to everybody, and I will work more on this sock tomorrow. If I don't show up, you'll know something not nice happened, but I don't see that happening. I'll be here tomorrow. I love you all. I will see you, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and do what makes you happy. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.